Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks, Dr. Navid, for arranging this. I think it's such a good opportunity to have a bridge between the research and industry. Okay, so today, because of various background, definitely I will not go so deep on the technical part, but I just want to share with you what we are doing here and what should be done in Thailand as a case study as a Bangkok. So my presentation on this topic on the session of transportation and road infrastructure, which might change your view a little bit on the road infrastructure, is the Bangkok transportation problem and possible solution. So my name is Surachet Pravinvongvuth. You can just call me by the last four, Chet. I'm a transportation engineering faculty here in AIT. So, I very interested in transportation problem because I was born in Bangkok. So at that time, 40 years ago, no expressway, really congested. I live in the area called Jangwathana, which is about 25 kilometers from the downtown. So it took me 2 hours every morning. I have to wake up early in the morning to get to the school, 2 hours on the road. And in the evening, 1.5 hours to 2.5 hours, vary more than in the morning. So I can tell that I grew up in car, part of my life, and that is a sick pain, and I hate it so much. So when I was in the States, I studied everything in my mind, keep thinking about this. When the first expressway opened and connect my house to the inner city, at that time, my dad, who is a civil engineer also, saying that don't use it yet. Let some people use it for a week or a month because it's new. Something could be wrong, something is dangerous, he's afraid of that. So on that day, very first day, I said that my dad, don't pick me up from school. And then on that evening, I took taxi so that I can try expressway on the very first day that it's open. Because I'm so sick of traffic since I was a kid. Okay. So later on, I go to the technical part on transportation problem side, and my view has been changed, which is I will be talking about is today. Even though the session is on the road infrastructure, but I think I have a different view for that, which I would like to share with you, and from the technical point of view too. Okay. So not all of us from Thailand, not all of us here from Bangkok, but that your country face the foreign problems. Congestion, yes. Pollution, yes. Climate change, gasoline consumption, a lot of import, economic loss, equity, some people drive Mercedes-Benz, some people crowded on the public transportation. Urban sprawl, city become larger and larger, very hard to get into the city. And car accident, this is a famous car accident. If you are Thai, you will know this. DJ King, And most importantly, that I think many of you have kids. Does your son want a new car before a new house? And not every daughter I use a son because typically in the Asian style, a son want to have a car so that pick up girlfriends and then go to many places. If the lady have a car by themselves, nobody will pick up. So I specific to the son. But that is a problem, right? Because a car is something that depreciate over time. It's not investment, but house is investment. So thinking about this big problem, what is the common cause of the problem? It's the car, it's the road usage. It's the common cause of this problem. And that I want to show you another perspective about Bangkok transportation problem and many problems that happen in developing countries today. So actually in transportation, it's just a matter of moving things from an origin to a destination. Car is not the only way. Okay? So moving what? You can separate to be two categories, majorly, peoples or goods. Okay? And to move things is by which mode? You can use rail, you can use boat, you can use taxi, motorcycles, or using car, using bus, whatsoever. That is mode of transportation. And which route you're gonna take. Okay. So with the limited of time on this talk, I will focus more on everybody's concern, which is moving people by mode. That is my focus of this study, which is a part of the whole perspective of transportation. So before that I go to the technical part a little bit more, I want to give you some background about Bangkok's transportation problem that I can claim that I know it well. I was born here and I spent all my life related to the civil engineering and transportation engineering. So Thailand, we have a very good location. We have a geographical advantage that we are in the hub. You can see that for the inland of the AEC, Thailand have the best location. This is just a Google map. I modify nothing. That you can see that Thailand, we have a very good, very perfect location as a hub for this AEC region. Okay, and Thailand, we have a Bangkok as capital. This is the area, and the population is around 65 million. The problem about transportation in Thailand is because we rely too much on the road transportation, 85%. Okay. Maritime, which is actually the cheapest way to do the transportation, is 12%. Rail, right now we have only 2%. And air, basically is expensive, so it's only 1%. So we rely too much on road transportation, both passenger and freight. It is costly, it is difficult to increase capacity. I used to work for the Expressway Authority of Thailand, and we have a lot of profit because it's congestion, a lot of car. But even though we want to build a new expressway, these days it's very, very difficult to get the land. In the past, we're talking about 90% of the construction cost and 10% for the land acquisition. Right now, it's almost 50-50. Okay? So even though you have the money, it's very difficult to expand the capacity, especially if the city is developed without the nice urban planning. In Bangkok, it's even worse because it's the core part of the whole Thailand. In Bangkok, I give you some rough picture. It is ranked as the 15th largest in terms of population worldwide. The area is about only 1.5% of the whole Thailand, but the population is about a quarter. Okay, in terms of GDP, it's about half. So Bangkok is Thailand, Thailand is Bangkok. This is not good in terms of equality, in terms of development, because everything is in Bangkok. Bangkok is Thailand, Thailand is Bangkok. Okay, so no doubt, in Bangkok is the most severe problem in Thailand in terms of transportation. As you've seen, congestion, pollution, many things happen in Bangkok. In the world ranking, Bangkok is ranked at number 1 according to this source. Some source might rank differently, some source might rank 2 or 3. Okay, but this is I just showed some source. But rank number 1 here is not something to be proud of. Okay, it is very bad in terms of congestion that happened in Bangkok, and Jakarta also famous in terms of Bangkok. And in some ranking, they put Jakarta is number 1. Okay.
What about Manila? Manila is 4th. No, Manila is worse than Bangkok for sure.
Yeah, I think that is depend on subjective. But I would say that many developing countries share this same problem, that very, very bad congestion. Some source might rank differently, but anyway, Bangkok always in the top 5. But again, not something to be proud of. Okay, so don't try to beat between Manila and Bangkok. Okay, and also another mode of transportation is about the airport. Okay, so 70% of the trips is to Bangkok because Bangkok is Thailand, Thailand is Bangkok. It's very dense here relative to the whole Thailand. But when you arrive at the airport, then what is next, right? That is a lot of people, and if we open to AEC, right now we already open to AEC in the end of 2015, but more and more passengers will come. So then what is next? So in short summary, Bangkok is the transportation hub of Thailand and could be transportation hub of AC. I use the word could be because even though we have a geographical advantage, but if we don't manage our system well, very congested, some people will use others. Bangkok has been facing traffic congestion problem and many other problems caused by road transportation, and the trend is to continue. Improving public transportation in Bangkok is a must. Okay. So let's talking about problems and possible solution modes in the case study of Bangkok. That what happened. So step back, looking at the big picture. Actually, it's just a simple economic concept: demand and supply. When you have a lot of demand, which is willingness to travel, you want to go anywhere, and supply is a road transportation or rail transportation network. When you have demand more than supply, is congested. It's just as simple as that. If you have enough load, it will not. But can we have enough load? If you look at the growing rate between the number of vehicles registered each year, it's going up like this. But the road that we can grow is like this. And as the city develops, as I said, to get the land to build the new road, even assume that you have the money, you cannot. And once you keep doing that, the city is become larger and larger and larger. It's always congested. Last week I just went to Beijing, which is they have a very nice infrastructure, the road, the bridge, everything, but it's congestion until the midnight. Okay, and I will tell you more on the technical part why roadway transportation got a lot of advantage and why people want to use it. But before that, I want to highlight that demands and supply, when it's demand much more than supply, especially for the private car, that is congestion happen. The demand in Bangkok is around 7 million trips per day and is forecast to be double in the next 15 years. Driver underestimate the cost of private car usage. This is the point that I want to highlight, and I will have the next slide to explain to you clearly what went wrong. Driver underestimate the cost of private car usage. On the supply side, it grows much slower rate. It's lack of transit supply in many body pairs. Why? Okay. If you look at as a comparison, this is for the road transportation and this is rail transportation. So road, you can think of private car usage, and rail, you can think of mass transit usage, for example. On the road side, what are the components? The details component. Okay, so let me compare that part by part. When we're talking about road transportation, people already expect that government have to pay for the road and for the maintenance, and that part is huge. For the road construction, for the yearly maintenance or big fix every 5 years. The second part is the car insurance and maintenance. Come on, think about yourself when you drive. Do you think about that? You already forget. That is a big part of money that you put. Your car is what? 1 million baht. But you already forget when you're about to drive. Those two parts are huge. Infrastructure, the car itself, but people forget. When you're about to start the engine, what do you think? It's just a gasoline. It's just a time, travel time. It's just a toll if you pay for the expressway toll. This is the part that people recognize, that they're right. But these two parts is much larger. And now we want to compare in terms of competition between road and rail to answer why rail 2%. Because on the rail and track maintenance, right now in Thailand, people expect it to be covered. People expect to cover by train operation maintenance, which is equivalent to this part, And then electricity, which is equivalent to the gasoline. This is time, and this is a fare. And people expect that the mass transit have to be able to maintain without subsidy. They expect that, okay, you build this new mass transit, it should make money, you should be at least operated and then get the fare. But the mass transit to be successful, it have to make the land development and have a non-fare box as the majority of the income. But right now, what happened to Thailand and many developing countries? No, you expect it to survive without, with some, but very small part of subsidy compared to this. Give you some example. In the State Railway Authority of Thailand, which is cover the whole Thailand rail, they have the budget subsidy from the government around 7 billion. But Department of Highway alone get 50 billion. And we have a Department of Rural Road, and we have many organizations constructing the road. So each year, government subsidize at least 100 billion Thai baht to the road transportation, but 7 billion for the rail transportation. And how can you expect that the rail mode share will be more than 2%? Not talking about the coverage lane, not talking about many issues. Okay, so that's the key point. How can we make a fair competition? So the solution to that is that we have to encourage, we have to push our effort to make the mode shift happen. And this is the government job, not private, not individual can do. It's a government job to intervene the unfair market. Keep building a new road will never be enough. I have tons of reasons to explain to you why. The simplest way is go to the country that have a lot of money, like in Beijing. Does congestion gone? No, you're keeping the road, the city larger, it's congestion until the midnight. Traveling by car is not as sustainable and it's very expensive to travel. I think no doubt about that. You can imagine it's very clear. So the current situation of market share, now we're talking about only in Bangkok, in the city, okay? We have this bus, this MRT, which is mass transit line, this is car. But still, the car is the largest part in the Bangkok too. So car dominates the market, increasing supply capacity for car to meet its demand is impossible. And we should increase supply capacity for other modes and encourage for the mode shift. That is the answer in the big picture, encourage for the mode shift. The trend of do nothing, let it be, is clearly worse. This is the statistic from Office of Transportation Planning, government agency, that the speed is dropped and the number of cars increased. Okay. So enhancing the supply capacity by mass transit is such a great idea. So think about it. If you want to compare, these are the equal comparison. If you want to carry passenger flow to a section, here, if you use mass transit, you will need the space equivalent to 2 lanes. Here, 28 lanes. Okay? Because the car is big and it's congestion, and once the level of service is dropped to level of service F, it stop and go, it's make even worse, it's not flow. Okay? And this is the medium part, which is mass transit intermodal bus. So in Bangkok, actually we have a lot of many kinds of public transportation, but the problem is not about many kinds. The problem is about the quality and quantity. And in the big picture, you can measure by the subsidy from the government. What is the money that put in each mode of transportation? It's very, very different. Okay, so that's why the mode share look like this. It's so ugly that many people drive. In Thailand, the main office for the planning is called Office of Transportation Planning. That one already know the problems that, well, with the current situation, they want to set the target I don't know when it will achieve the target, but at least they set the target that they want to encourage for the mode shift from this is the car share, which is around 58%, to reduce about half to 25%. That is their target. Okay. So because the limited of time, I just wrap up that you plus 1.5 ton is a waste when you travel. Why? You want to carry a big piece of iron with you every time you travel? And you can see that, well, to accommodate these so many people by car, you need a lot of space, and it's going to be congestion. Just by bus, it looks like this. So in short, I think we should encourage for public transportation. So we rely too much on private car with the current scheme of subsidizing for road relative to others. People unreasonably pick the mode of transportation. They don't care. Taxpayer is something that people not care so much. It's just spend. Okay? Or forget about hidden costs. Right? You purchase a car that you're about to drive, you already forget. It's given that you have a car you want to drive. Okay. It's a government job to balance the shares among transportation modes to an appropriate level, and the most important thing is we should have the plan, not plans. Right now, each organization just plan for their own thing. I give you a very awful example that will happen in Thailand very soon. The government right now, or maybe I don't want to talking about politics today, but just off record. The government right now want to connect Bangkok and Korat. Right now, Bangkok to Korat, which is the second largest city in Thailand, is about 250 kilometers. Now, the infrastructure that we have is a major highway called Mitipa, which is around 6-lane roads, which is a very good road already. On the rail, it's only a single track. But the government want to build single track, double track, high speed track. So in short, the rail want to expand the capacity from 1 to 4. That is not reasonable to me. Just 1 to 2 first, and then suddenly move to 2 to 4. That makes more sense. But now what they are doing is from 1 to 4. Not still big enough. They also approve the motorway from Bangkok to Korat. Parallelly serve the same OD. And with this unfair market, what will happen is nobody will use rail. I already tell you the reason. And it's a waste a lot of money. So if the government want to encourage people to use public transportation or use rail, don't create that motorway. Or if you want to create motorway, go to other destination, not this destination. And why that happened? Because this is what I said, we should have a plan, the plan without S. But right now we have plans because Department of Highway, they have their own plan to build motorway. And another department have a plan to build the railway. But actually, it's a competitive mode. It's a mode, competition. Okay? So I hope that your country should have the single plan, not plans. And to do this thing, actually on the technical part, there's many tools, travel demand modeling, forecasting. You can evaluate whether project is worth or not. But again, because we have plans, they just evaluate the condition that, okay, this is existing condition plus motorway, so it's worth. Existing condition plus rail, so it's worth. But they never put these two together. This kind of thing is not 1 plus 1 equal to 2. 1 plus 1 could be 1.1 or could be 3. It depends. But definitely, if serve the same origin and destination, that is not 1 plus 1 will be more than 2. It will definitely less than 2. Okay? And that cost about the study is very small. We're talking about less than 1%. But the problem is that the government officer, they don't want to study, they just want to build. I don't want to tell the reason, but I think all you know. They just want to hold the budget. They want to approve. They want to get the money past their hand. The small study project that tell you, think about yourself. If you want to open the restaurant, a small restaurant, and invest for 1 million baht, for example, if there's somebody tell you that, okay, pay me 1%, and I can tell you whether that is worth your money or not, I think you will pay it right away. It's just 1% to tell that this is worth or not. But the problem in developing countries is that, okay, I want this project to happen, I want this project to happen. And you can see last government talking about 2 trillion baht project, and just 1 year later, this government talking about 3.4 trillion baht. That is just because some big guy just, I need this project. It's not past the study. And that is very sad. Also, there's many technical tools available to analyze the efficiency, what is the best way to implement the project. Okay, that definitely we also provide this knowledge in AAT, but to get this to the practice is long story. You know, in the practice, I used to work for the expressway of Thailand. I know what happened, but I just don't want to talk on the record. But I think you know what I'm talking about. They just want money to pass their hand to approve for the project. They don't care much about the study. So, some suggestion that this is a theory of the urban revolution. Okay. So the evolution, if the city is so small, walking, car, and taxi is pretty much makes sense mode of transportation. Let's say if the city is less than 100,000 population, and once it becomes larger, you will need some cheap public transportation mode, for example, bus. And once the city expands, you will need a transit and LRT. And when it comes like a large city, let's say more than 2 million, you will need freeway and rapid way and fully automated train system, something like that. So there are theories behind that. So I say that, well, even though I put emphasis on the public transportation on this talk, but road still necessary, but not for all areas. And we have to pick that, okay, in this route is that how many passengers that you want to serve and what is the best way to serve them. Think about if you not think. Everybody knows Tokyo and Osaka. In the past, 40 years ago, is congestion, right? So they build motorway. Let's say that if they build motorway, so 4 lanes motorway first, and then 6 lanes, and then 10 lanes. Right now, with the current demand, they have high-speed rail because they not keep building the road. But if not, we are talking about 50 lanes expressway from Tokyo to Osaka. Can you imagine 50-lane expressway? And that's definitely not efficient. But they're smart. They think, they plan. They know that this is the major corridor. They build a high-speed train system. And the expressway can be still keep at 4 lanes. And definitely the pricing strategy is important. You want to cheap, so you increase the price. Gasoline price, for example, it should be the same for the market worldwide. But actually it's not. If you live in the Europe, they put a lot of tax. And they use some kind of Robin Hood, you know Robin Hood. So they take the money from the rich, from people who drive, and they put the money to spend on the public transportation. And that is a good way to do so. So the quote of the day that I want you to think further is that a developed country is not a place where the poor have cars. It is where the rich use public transportation. And that I want to end my presentation with some further thinking that what should you do for your country? I use this to explain to all my students all the time when I study that I think our life is dealing with a lot of people and there are so many agencies. We need a North Star. we need to know a direction to go, so that if you are here, you will turn left to the North Star. If you are here, you will turn right to the North Star, but reach the same destination. So in other words, you should have a single plan that, okay, if you decide that public transportation is the way, everybody should support for that. Not roadway, just keep building and then rail. But if you decide to take the roadway, forget about investment about this rail. But you have to bear the cost, the pollution cost. But if the pollution cost, the climate change, the inefficient thing that will happen that I showed in the first slide, you have to bear that cost. But that's okay as long as you have North Star. Right now it's not okay. Right now it's not, because rail agency just build the rail, and then road agency just build the road. And I just show you example from Bangkok to Korat what happened. Okay, so that is wrap up my talk. Thanks.
Thank you.